That's how the fire started.
It looks like people are throwing bottles at the police car that just drove through.
A firecracker or something being thrown into the area.
Yeah, I think it may be tear gas. Yeah, we got to go.
Now we see some smoke.
People are running toward this danger. People are running away from it. And just to give you a sense of what is happening in downtown Raleigh right now.
Just amazing to see how this has unfolded today.
They are coming in great numbers. They are chanting.
That's when a lot of the protesters start running, as you can see now. So
that tear gas is getting to them. I want to step out of the way and set the scene. You have people who were gathered right at the front of the Capitol building there on the stairs about a half hour ago. As things do get a little bit more violent, he's being pulled from the crowd, and hopefully this gentleman's okay.
Now we see a person up on the police vehicle, stomping on the police vehicle.
And then, as you're seeing right now, another person jumped back up there. Now we're looking at 3 people that were there. It did look at one point like, oh, looks like people are running right now.
They fired more tear gas, it appears.
There you go.
It looks like we have some tear gas to the right. You see that? So that's what we've been seeing all night long.
What we are seeing on Sky 5 is looting happening at a CVS in downtown. The shift from protesting peacefully to rioting in the streets of downtown has taken place.
We're tired of cops killing our brothers and our sisters and getting away with it. This is war. War is not pretty.
There is an American flag that's been burned. It is burning.
And what we're seeing behind us is some of the fire. That is a loud firework. We have a crowd running toward us. This crowd is running toward us from the direction of that fire at this point.
They're running through Moore Square as we speak.
It's really, really intense, guys.
And somebody's sitting in a chair, and if that is tear gas, he's now being surrounded by tear gas and smoke.
A number of people are going in and out of the JCPenney there. We do not see any officers. People are coming in and out with items.
This whole situation has just evolved into chaos. Clearly, this is not a peaceful demonstration anymore. This is a riot.
Businesses, restaurants, a wine shop, a jewelry store, this coffee shop.
It was about 30 people that came by, smashed these and ran.
This is a family business that they've built. And now his furniture is burning on the sidewalk. There just aren't words. It's really hard to believe this is our city.
I mean, to see the National Guard right here in your backyard, I mean, what do you make of that? It's a 300-year problem in the making, you know?
Seeing an image like this, it's really heartbreaking. It's really hard to watch.
I feel like we're doing our part by being here. It could have been any of us. This has to stop.
Folks have been very solid walking through, looking at George Floyd's body.
I empathize and understand the importance, the anger, the hurt that's in our community.
His life was a sacrifice, but for what? What was the sacrifice?
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for this special report honoring George Floyd. I'm Lena Tillett.
And I'm Ken Smith. Any minute now, we're expecting the memorial service to begin for George Floyd.
The Floyd family arrived at this facility in Rayford, and as you can see here, as a show of solidarity, the community released black balloons right when they arrived.
His casket arrived this morning around 10 o'clock. It was a very somber scene. Our faithful reporter Gilbert Bays was on the scene, and he says you could hear a pin drop when the hearse first pulled up. But when George Floyd's casket was pulled out and started the procession into the conference center, people started chanting his name,
And thousands of people attended this viewing. So much traffic before it officially started. The sheriff of Hoke County and other county leaders organizing the event decided to start early. Floyd's sister, Bridget Floyd, lives in Hoke County, and Sheriff Hubert Peterkin and Chairman of the Hoke County Board of Commissioners, James Leach, made this service happen when they found out that Floyd had connections to this area.
They're lined up to make their way down to the front of the church. The casket will be wheeled down in the middle of the church, and everybody is waiting for that.
5 years ago today, 9 people were gunned down in South Carolina at a church at the hands of a self-proclaimed white supremacist. Today, in an emotional meeting, the sister of one of the victims met with the sister of George Floyd. WRAL's Fayetteville reporter Gilbert Bays is live with a story you will only hear on WRAL. Gilbert?
Well, Deborah, I tell you, you could cut the emotion in that room with a knife. You have two women coming together from two different types of tragedy. You had Marlene Jenkins comforting Bridget Floyd just like she was one of her daughters, and I guess in a way now she is. The lives of Marlene Jenkins and Bridget Floyd are connected in a tragic way. 5 years ago, Jenkins lost her sister, Myra Thompson, when Dylan Roof killed 9 people inside Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina.
5 years later, I haven't recovered, but I am recovering because I do have the same faith that you have. You know who God is.
3 weeks ago, Floyd lost her brother, George Floyd, while in the custody of police in Minnesota. The two events have forever linked these women.
Regardless of when it happened to you, I know it probably still feels like yesterday.
It was an emotional conversation. Jenkins read a letter she had planned to send to Floyd offering condolences, which said in part,
"As you relive the days that make you cry, leave room for the spiritual healing and growth that only comes from God."
That was very, very compassionate.
Let's face it, when the headlines get scary, you need to trust people with a proven track record.
Keeping you safe is WRAL's #1 priority.
It dictates everything we do, every word of every story we tell.
Giving you the facts to make the right decisions.
That's been our track record for more than 60 years. Trust WRAL, because coverage you can count on is not just a slogan, it's a promise.
It's a promise to you. We'll get through this together.
Here's a word that gets everyone's attention: vaccine. See how an RTP company is using a type of tobacco plant to fast-track a cure for coronavirus. Thursday at 6, only on WRAL Investigates.
We don't want the kids to grow up and fear police.
We've been wanting to be a part of protests. We've been wanting to speak out against the actions.
All colors out here fighting for Black Lives Matter.
These deaths need to be accounted for.
Who do we stand for? To be the people, the guardians who we said we would be when we took the oath to serve and protect.
This is a fight that we fought for a very, 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 very long time.
The police department is the community. That's why we're here.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this special edition of WRAL News at 7. I'm Deborah Morgan.
And I'm Gerald Owens. Tonight, we are proud to bring you an important, live, candid conversation with local police chiefs and law enforcement leaders for a discussion you will only see on WRAL. Taking part in this roundtable are police chiefs and leadership from Raleigh, Fuquay-Varina, Morrisville, Holly Springs, and Apex.
Is there sensitivity training in your departments? If so, how often is it done? And is it revisited in times like these? Chief Letning, let's start with you.
Yes, let me echo the Colonel's thanks to WRAL and True. It's been great partnerships over many years.
Akari, one of your officers pulls up behind someone. What is the most common thing that that person will do to escalate that encounter with that officer? And what do you say to the public in that instance?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. But I also think it goes back to both what Chief Letney and Captain Brunner were saying about the totality of de-escalation, right? It's important that officers are able to maintain and follow what they have been taught at the very beginning of the encounter.
Getting ahead of coronavirus on campus could be a flush away. WRAL investigates a new way to test college students who don't even know they're sick. And it's working. Monday at 6, only on WRAL News.
WRAL Investigates hit the streets to see if we could find the virus on surfaces that are part of our daily routines. The grocery store, the gas pump, the gym, and a playground. Armed with a testing kit from EnviroTech, Investigates producer Randall Kerr swabbed surfaces that get touched over and over every day. The keypad and pump at the gas station, refrigerator handle and keypad at the grocery store, handles in the weight room at the gym, and several areas of the playground where kids constantly touch.
A lot's being said about coronavirus, and WRAL News is here to help you make sense of it all. What's happening now?
We begin tonight at 11 with several breaking updates.
What's happening next?
We have a follow-up to breaking news we first shared with you last night at 10 o'clock.
And what it all means for you.
The first case of coronavirus in North Carolina with an unknown origin.
North Carolina's largest news team is working for you, breaking down every angle so you get truth and trust. WRAL News, coverage you can count on. Adrian Grubbs was only 37 when he died of coronavirus. He had worked for the city of Raleigh 17 years. His death, one more in an alarming trend. African Americans disproportionately infected or dying from coronavirus.
No one should have to go through that. No one.
Chanda Grubbs still can't wrap her mind around how her husband Adrian went from doting father of 3 to brain dead in just 12 days. The final painful update delivered by phone.
It's a horrible feeling because it breaks my heart that my husband literally died alone.
He joins a growing group in North Carolina and in this country. African Americans are dying of COVID-19 at higher rates than any other race. In North Carolina, the latest state health department data shows Black Americans are dying by COVID-19 at almost twice the rate of white people.
Our health system has had, unfortunately, long-standing health equity issues.
DHHS Secretary Dr. Mandy Cohen says COVID-19 preys on people with chronic diseases, many of which are prevalent among African Americans.
One outbreak of coronavirus at the daycare center in Fayetteville has shut the place down.
Now, this is the letter that's on the front door of the daycare center on Cliffdale Road, and it says they have 3 individuals who have tested positive. Well, now that number is up to 6, and that means it's something that the Cumberland County Health Department is tracking.
The health director calls the outbreak a cluster.
A cluster is defined as 5 or more cases, and a cluster is also those cases have to be linked together.
One of the biggest questions a lot of families have as we begin to reopen our communities is what will school systems be doing this fall to keep students safe if they go back by the fall?
They're looking at everything from, do they have enough nurses? Will the nurses have enough resources? What are they going to do about social distancing and assemblies and sports in the cafeteria?
Do we allow students to wear masks? Do we require masks? What's it like when a faculty member is standing in front of class with a mask trying to teach, or you're trying to get a group project in mask?
COVID-19 is impacting how high school students get into college. With another SAT canceled, admissions criteria will shift.
Given the economic fallout from the pandemic, colleges will now be courting students rather than the other way around.
There's going to be a big hole in most of these universities' budgets where they need students in a way that they've never needed them before.
And so while high school students are still nervous about their prospects,
I don't even know how to put it into words. It's like nothing like I've ever experienced before.
This experience may just lead to a long overdue overhaul of the way colleges choose students.
It's got to be improved, and I think we were ready for an improvement.
Dental offices are no longer seeing people for routine appointments, but they are seeing people who have dental emergencies. And this office in Cary says they are seeing quite a few patients. We asked dentists at Riccobini Associates if they had a lot of emergency patients right now.
Holy smokes, yes, quite a bit. A lot of grateful people.
Breaking coronavirus news. The governor has announced 5
big
more
stories
people tested.
Require a big news team. More than 40 reporters big, tracking all 100 counties in North Carolina, breaking down the numbers and the impact they'll have on you right here in the Triangle. That's why the largest news team in the state is working for you. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We've got you covered. WRAL News. Coverage you trust. Coverage you can count on.
Tonight is about honoring our frontline workers.
Our heroes, doctors, nurses, housekeepers, and hospital staff.
Your courage and your commitment have kept our state going during this difficult time.
You keep us safe.
You've helped us flatten the curve.
You've risked your health.
You're showing us how teamwork, dedication, and sacrifice will get us through this.
While there's still a long way to go,
tonight we salute you and we thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for this special salute to our frontline heroes. I'm Deborah Morgan.
And I'm Gerald Owens. Tonight we are honoring our frontline workers in the fight to stop COVID-19 with a tribute you won't see anywhere else. The path starts in Raleigh, right here at WRAL. Then it's off to WakeMed Raleigh, Duke Raleigh, UNC Rex, and WakeMed Cary. The Bandit flight team then flies west to Durham and Chapel Hill.
Our team coverage expands across the triangle along the flight path on the air and on the ground.
Let's send it up to Jim Kilpatrick with the Bandit flight team.
All right, Jim, stand by. You're live.
Well, ladies, we're over to Durham right now. We're coming up on Duke University, and it's our opportunity to tell those people how much we appreciate their effort and all the hard work that they have done. So we got a nice view of it here. So, Bandits, let's say thank you to Duke University Hospital.
Wow, what a great vantage point.
What an amazing sight. Everybody had their eyes glued to the skies.
You know, I just get goosebumps, not only seeing that sight, seeing the smoke, seeing those pilots in formation, knowing that the pilot you were just listening to, Jim Kilpatrick, has a daughter who's a physician at UNC. Now he's able to fly over with his team, thanking her team on the ground below, and just seeing their waving, it just makes me so emotional to see how they're responding to it too.
Well, this is a wonderful event, and it's actually been the right thing to do to thank our healthcare workers. We've had some great partners, WRAL and the North Carolina Healthcare Association. They've really worked hard to put this together, and we certainly do appreciate it.
Very close call. It was a matter of a few feet.
You're looking at a water rescue in progress.
These are the first aerial pictures of the storm damage.
That's the most incredible video I've seen.
Raleigh firefighters getting ready to go in and rescue that woman.
Watching the weather, WRAL.
I was watching the radar on your app. Maybe a second later, you could just hear the trees falling.
This car is total.
They have just moved us back. It is about to snap.
This may not be the only severe weather event we have for the month of February.
You should take this storm seriously.
Our team of meteorologists and reporters is tracking this storm from the coast to the triangle.
You could see these waves getting rougher.
The worst is going to come after midnight while folks are sleeping.
At night, when something like this happens, it makes you chill in your boots.
We are going to see big impacts here. We're talking about power outages. There will be flash flooding.
We know this is going to get more intense as the night goes on.
WRAL will be here for you throughout the night.
It sure has, Lena, and I want to show you some of the debris from that wind. This is around our live truck, which we moved to a safer location, ironically. But if you look all under the tire here, I mean, there are just big pieces of sheet metal all around, lots of debris from trees, siding from that building that we were showing you earlier. And this is what this whole parking lot looks like. And of course, you know, tomorrow when people come out, they're going to have to check their cars because obviously all of that noise we heard, those loud pieces of metal, well, here they are. And they flew across this parking lot and hit some cars, I'm sure. So I don't think people will really know the extent of it until they get out here in the morning.
This is a dangerous storm.
It's now breached this seawall. It keeps coming up.
There's no beach left. It's all the way up to these railings right here.
We are in the eye wall of Isaias.
Look at the wind there. The entire state of North Carolina is under a flooding risk.
The rain is coming down. It's torrential.
We have a lot going on tonight. We've already seen a lot so far.
The triangle really could see a lot of these downed trees and losing power, and the worst of it coming when people are asleep. And that's the scary part.
We started start at Ocean Isle Beach, where Isaias made landfall last night. And the big story at Ocean Isle Beach, the 4 homes destroyed by fire in the heart of this beach community. When we arrived at Sky 5 this morning, what's left of the homes was taped off. Homes burned on both sides of Driftwood Street. And on the east end of the island, another home burned around 3rd Street. Down that street, neighbors have a different kind of mess to clean up after Isaias left his mark.
It's very quiet in this part of Oak Island tonight after Brunswick County officials ordered a mandatory evacuation in this area hardest hit by the storm. They say these homes are unsafe.
Very quickly, it went from that's kind of really neat and Mother Nature to, wow, this is getting a little scary.
When the ocean washed over the entire island from the sea to the sound, destroying homes, sweeping away cars, and leaving a thick layer of sand in its wake, the Scalfinis from Cary couldn't believe what they were seeing.
The waves were breaking through the houses in front of us. We've been here for 20 years. The water's never hit our driveway, and it was just completely flowing over the pool into the coastal waterway to the canals.
Katie Allen was riding out the storm in her bathtub across the street when the Scalfinis urged her to come to their house for safety.
The fear of having waves coming at your house and not knowing people, so we were kind of just telling people, like the girl over there, to just come back to our house.
I could feel maybe the siding coming off of the bottom, and I was like, I don't know what this looks like, but I think I should get up. And when I did, luckily my neighbors were out and they waved me over.
Now everyone here is left figuring out how they will overcome what Isaias left behind.
Been through a lot of storms. I know a lot of the friends here saying this was the worst they'd seen in a long time, if not ever. Probably, and especially for a Category 1 that a lot of people weren't expecting.
A lot of Oak Island residents have weathered many storms before, but they say this one was so powerful, they probably won't do it again.
Well, Gerald, we had numerous tornado warnings issued for North Carolina. Now, they all started in our southern counties. Now, this is the track of Isaias, just the perfect trajectory to bring that storm surge to our southern-facing beaches. These are all the tornado reports, and the surveys came out this evening ranging from an EF0 tornado to EF1. Winds ranged from 70 to 104 miles per hour. Numerous trees snapped. There were roof damage as well. The storm made its way up to the north and east. Some tornado reports near Beaufort. Estimated winds up to 100 miles per hour. Now, the Bertie County tornadoes, we have not had a report yet because the National Weather Service has not made its way to Bertie County. They're out of Wakefield, Virginia, and they've been so busy with the tornado damage up there. The survey will take place during the day tomorrow. And there were a slew of reports up to the north, as far north as southern New Jersey, and those were the last reports we saw.
From changes on campus,
we have taken furniture out of the classroom,
to the 4 things parents need to know to keep students safe. 5 on Your Side examines college during COVID. Only on WRAL tonight at 6.
Kids playing in a virtual world, but spending real money. Lots of it.
$1,600. That's more than I make in a paycheck.
Thursday, don't get sucker punched by costly in-app purchases made by your kids.
Well, you don't know if you're using real money or not.
See how to lock down your devices, keep your kids happy, and keep your money. Watch 5 on Your Side, Thursday at 6.
WRAL News, your #1 source for local news.
We cannot focus so much on the property damage that we forget why people are in the streets in the first place. Racism, excessive use of force, health disparities, poverty, white supremacy. These are wrong. They are ugly, but they are present. We must deal with them.
Governor Roy Cooper speaking about 2 hours ago, addressing protests that turned to riots in downtown Raleigh and Fayetteville last night. And within the last 90 minutes, we learned more than 400 National Guard members will be activated to Raleigh, Charlotte, and other cities in North Carolina if those cities request that help. Thank you for joining us. I'm Deborah Morgan.
And I'm Gerald Owens, who want to take you to scenes from downtown Raleigh last night. You can see on the right side of your screen. Tonight, we have crews across the area covering the aftermath of the protests and other gatherings happening today. WR's Rosalia Federa is following a protest in Rocky Mount. We want to go with her first, and we'll take her live. Rosalia, what are you seeing there right now?
This is the same scene we've been seeing since we got here an hour ago, since this started. Very peaceful, but emotional. I want to have you take a look at the podium back there. We haven't really been able to give you a good shot. You can see the speakers up there, and that is what has been happening here. People speaking their truth, their message, what they want to get out. And everybody here listening, applauding, chanting back, that kind of atmosphere. Not violent in any way. There are some police officers here. They're more staying to the back. But I just want to take you through the crowd, give you a sense of what Falls Road looks like here. When we first got here, it was mostly confined to this grassy area hill, but it's grown since we've been here. You know, people just filling up the road again. It's closed. The city closed down Battle Park around noon and shutting down this road and all access to this road. So the people here marched from a parking lot down the road at a movie theater to get here. And I want to show you where they stopped in front of this Confederate monument on Falls Road. And they said that this was purposeful, that this monument glorifies and celebrates the hatred and the violence that African Americans have felt for years. And that is why they picked this location to spread that message. Take a look at this crowd out here. I want to show you some of the signs people are holding. And we're going to read your signs, guys. Is that okay with WRAL? Enough is enough. Yeah, we know all lives matter, but Black lives matter too. Act like it. Hashtags. They're seeing signs like this all over, and just that kind of atmosphere of people coming together. No one getting violent in any way. No angry conversations. There's some people here tell me they are angry and they want things to change. And the cool thing about this is there are a lot of families here, a lot of young kids, parents wanting their kids to see this. I had a chance to talk to some of these kids here, and they were telling me, that Black lives do matter. And even as young as that, they want people to know that and hear their voice. I want to try to talk to somebody here so you can hear it from them, hear why they're here. You can hear them clapping in response to what the speaker is saying. That's that noise that we've been hearing here. That's how loud it has been getting in agreement for what they're saying. Frankie, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
Now, you live in Rocky Mount. You're a business owner. Tell me how you're feeling here right now.
I'm upset. I'm really upset. I've been crying all day. I've been watching the mayors throughout the city, especially the mayor in Atlanta. I like Atlanta, but what the mayor in Atlanta said this morning was that this is not us as a people, but this is us as a people. But the thing is, right now, is that we're just upset, and we don't know how, in any other way, to express our feelings. But as a local businessman here, I'm praying that Rocky Mount would not be like the other cities, because I don't want my building destroyed and tore up. But yeah, we mad right now. We upset.
Thank you, Frankie, again, feeling that emotion. Oh, and it looks like they're about to march down Falls Road, but we're going to follow them, stay with them. We're going to send it back to you.
All right, an orderly crowd there in Rocky Mount. Rosalia Federa on the ground for us. Thank you, Rosalia.
WRAL's Amanda Lamb is live in downtown Raleigh, where more people are gathering there today. Amanda?
Deborah, we are at the Wake County Justice Center, and I'm going to let Lauren DeSarmo show you the across the street view. That's the Wake County Courthouse, the old courthouse. As you can see, there are barricades all around both of these buildings. These officers are ready for whatever may happen tonight. As you saw last night, there was a lot of violence, a lot of destruction right here in this area. A group did announce today that they were going to come down here. They were going to do a die-in. That hasn't happened yet, but we are here waiting to see what's going to happen. There's just a handful of protesters across the street. We've talked to them. They are actually not from Raleigh, from another area. And we talked to them about the violence. They told us they believe that people were actually paid to commit some of the violent acts last night. Of course, we have no way to confirm that. But again, if you look around, these officers are ready. Check out these barricades right here in front of the Wake County Justice Center. Now, this is where I come to work every single day during a regular week at WRAL. I've never seen anything like this. It's just unbelievable. And then it goes all the way down right here. This is the Wake County Public Safety Center, and that houses the Wake County Sheriff's Office. So pretty much all of these public buildings are being protected, and it's not just on this side. We've been on the other side. There are officers surrounding the whole perimeter of all of these buildings right here on Salisbury Street, because again, they believe that those protesters have plans to come down here to this very spot and protest and do a die-in. And so, of course, we're just kind of waiting to see what happens. We'll be here all night long, letting you know what's going on. Deborah.
Amanda, for people who don't know, can you explain what a die-in is?
Sure. So a die-in is a silent protest when people actually lay on the ground as if they're dead. And of course, if you have hundreds of people doing that, it can be quite a sight. And that's something that they have planned, several of these for tonight. But one of them is planned for right here at the Wake County Justice Center. And, you know, because this is the center of the criminal justice system here in Wake County, I mean, this is where it all happens, right here at these two buildings. I think that's why this area is a target for people. And again, that's why it's so important for the law enforcement here in Raleigh, in Wake County, to protect these buildings. These are public buildings.
Amanda.
These are taxpayer-funded buildings.
Thank you, Amanda. I just wanted to reference the Sky 5 image that we had up as you were speaking. Those are about 100 protesters who are on the Capitol grounds. So perhaps a block or two away from where Amanda is staying right now. And you can see those protesters spreading out. They have their signs. And Gerald, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, no movement there. We don't see the movement down to where Amanda was talking, but Joe Fisher is there, street side with the protesters. Hundreds of people have gathered so far. It has been peaceful so far, Joe. We hope that is still the same right now.
Gerald, it has been very loud, but very peaceful. You're hearing people honking here on Fayetteville Street, right at the intersection of Morgan Street. This is Capitol Square, right by the Capitol grounds. And just to put a visual to what Amanda Lamb was referencing, this is what a die-in is. This woman who we talked to in the last 45 minutes is actually lying face down on the pavement with her hands behind her back. This is, of course, the position that George Floyd was in that video that has spread across the world now, with that officer's knee on his neck for 9 minutes. We talked to that woman who said that this is for George Floyd, and she and so many others are standing up against police brutality. You can see that there are some sidewalk chalk here on the front of the Capitol grounds that says Black Lives Matter, as we pan on up to show hundreds of protesters that have gradually poured in here over the past hour and a half or so. Some of them saying stained policing is a national problem. Others saying stop killing the innocent. White silence encourages white violence. And this was about 50 people gathered around 4:30 this afternoon, and it has now grown to more than 200, perhaps 250 people right here on the Capitol grounds. We're talking with people for the past hour or so that have shown up here. This is one of those women. Ma'am, tell me your first name again. And
Danae.
You're Danae, and you brought your daughter out here.
Yes,
tell me,
Terry.
you were here yesterday around the same time.
It was
paint the picture.
It was so extreme. The police were tear gassing every single block back to back. Just people were fleeing, big clouds of tear gas everywhere. I had to run. I was so thankful I didn't have my daughter with me because it was extreme out here yesterday.
Are you hoping things stay peaceful as they have for the past hour tonight?
Yes, because the fighting, the tear gas, that's not needed. We just want to protest and get our word out and get the issues heard for our children, for our community, for our safety, because the police are here to protect us, not to shoot us down and kill us. So we just want to make awareness in words so that they can hear our cries and our issues and help us and not kill us.
Thank you so much for talking to us. We do appreciate it, and we're going to continue to monitor the situation here in downtown Raleigh throughout the night. Back to you.
And that message getting through to that little girl who says Black Lives Matter, the next generation. Joe Fisher, live in Raleigh. Thank you, Joe. We'll check back with you a little bit later.
I'm Mark Boyle in the Live Center right now. Just getting some information. This is the release that was sent from the town of Spring Lake. A declaration of a state of emergency there this evening, and there is a curfew that is being set up at 8 p.m. That is for the town of Spring Lake. We're also hearing about curfews that are in place in Fayetteville as well. We've talked about that this evening. There's been some discussion about what could happen in the city of Raleigh. Right now on the phone, Mayor Marianne Baldwin joins me. Mayor, talk to me. You and I were just, before we came on the air here, talking about the discussions of curfews in the city of Raleigh. What is the situation right now, and how would that unfold if we did see something?
Okay. Thanks, Mark. So what we have done is signed a state of emergency that will enable us to go forward with a curfew should we decide to do that. At this point in time, we are not moving forward with a curfew. Our police, though, are on alert for this evening, preparing in case we see additional violence, or which we're praying we don't. But we're preparing. I like to say we're preparing for the worst, but praying for the best. And we decided to forego the curfew for this evening, but it all will depend on how things go tonight, on what happens tomorrow.
So when you look at what happened last night with the looting and the fires in different areas, the CVS was one of the areas that we were looking at. When you see that, I'm just curious how it all plays out when you guys make these decisions, because obviously it's not like a switch. You just call and say, boom, let's make a decision. There's a lot of different things that have to go before that happens. Why wouldn't there be a curfew that would be set up, for example, right now for this evening in anticipation of possible violence later tonight?
Well, first off, there are steps that you have to follow to impose a curfew. We did that today with the state of emergency declaration. We are looking at police preparation, so we are prepared. But we would have had to impose the curfew at approximately no later than 5 today to give people time to prepare. And we were moving that process along.
Okay, so just to bring our viewers up to speed and to recap here, there will be no curfew set up for tonight in the city of Raleigh. And if we do see a curfew, the earliest we would see a curfew set up would be tomorrow, and you would make that decision, you say, by 4 or 5 p.m. in the afternoon. Is that correct?
Before 4 p.m.
Okay. And finally here this evening, before I let you go, and we'll stay in touch with you as we go through the night, we look at the video that's coming in, and we're seeing live pictures come in from downtown Raleigh where there are a lot of protesters, and they're peacefully down there together. We spoke yesterday several times. Talk to me about what you're hoping you see this evening in terms of the peaceful protests continuing and this dialogue that obviously will be something that will begin and is starting right now.
So one of the things, obviously, we hope is that there is only peaceful protest. The second thing we hope is that people stay at home. We can't forget that we're still in the middle of COVID and fighting a pandemic. So we need to be careful. We're asking people to just please be smart, stay at home, obey the rules. If you're protesting, be peaceful, and I think that's what we have been seeing or saw with this group downtown today. So that's our greatest hope, Mark.
A major contrast from what we saw last night to what we're seeing right now, and obviously it's been a tough day for you as well, and you were telling me that this has shaken you quite a bit.
It's heart-wrenching to see your downtown destroyed, especially after years of working on building it. And we have all these small business owners who just recently reopened with phase 2 of COVID, and now all of a sudden they're facing this. So it's really gut-wrenching and heartbreaking. And yet one of the things that was so wonderful to see downtown today were all of the volunteers and all of the people who came to clean up, to help each other, to help their neighbors. I mean, there was a lot of unity and sense of community downtown, and that gives me great hope.
Absolutely. There is strength in this community that will continue. Mayor Marion Baldwin of the City of Raleigh, thank you for your time this afternoon. And again, the mayor is saying there is no curfew that will be set up tonight in the City of Raleigh. If there is a curfew that will be set up, it will be announced tomorrow by 4 p.m. Back to you.
Mark, thank you. For more on the city's response, for the community's response, let's go live now to Kirsten Gutierrez, who is live on Fayetteville Street. Kirsten?
We've walked up and down Fayetteville all day, and while it looks much better than it did this morning, crews are still working to repair businesses. And like my photographer Jamie mentioned, it looks like they're preparing for a hurricane, but the storm has already passed. Now, almost every single business or building here has had some sort of damage. We've only seen 3 places that were not touched by damage. And while this began as a peaceful protest, city leaders tell us what it turned into is not what the City of Raleigh stands for.
Last night was both heartbreaking and devastating.
George Floyd protests poured into the Triangle Saturday, one of which started peacefully on Fayetteville Street in downtown Raleigh. But after 2 hours, things escalated quickly.
There's a group of people who came in the dark of night who had no intention of protesting peacefully. Instead, their goal was destruction.
At least 12 people were arrested. Several protesters were injured, one person was shot, and 5 Raleigh police officers were taken to the hospital.
But there's a way to present those issues to the police chief or anybody else. This is not it.
Raleigh Police Chief Cassandra Deck Brown tells us they wanted to help protesters spread their message. But once rocks, bottles, and other items were thrown at the officers, she commanded control.
The actions of the violent, lawless crowd that damaged our city and attacked officers and assaulted officers last night was disgusting and unacceptable.
Bam. Bam.
Owner of the Vault Raleigh on Fayetteville Street shared this video with WREL. The moment a brick was thrown through his business.
Oh, it was just pure chaos. It was anarchy, chaos, insanity. It was absolute insanity.
Insanity that Chief Deck Brown will not allow in her jurisdiction.
It wasn't community that came out yesterday. Amen. Community is in place right now, cleaning up the sidewalks.
And today we have seen a true sense of community. Today it's already been so peaceful so far, everyone coming to clean, everyone, even strangers, coming together to make the city look like a little bit what it used to. And they came out here drawing Oak City is our city, love your neighbor, we're all the same. The message today is love and loving people, and they want to make sure that today goes peaceful, and that's what the mayor, city leaders, and the chief of police hope does happen tonight. Back to you.
Absolutely. Kirsten Goodyear is live in Raleigh. Thank you, Kirsten.
Many people in Fayetteville also had a sleepless night last night. WRL's Julian Grace joining us live from Fayetteville with more on the actions the city is taking to keep the peace there. Julian?
Joe, first we wanted to give you a perspective on what the JCPenney's looks like today. Take a look at this. This was the area that the looters stormed through. Now it's been all boarded up. Crews made sure every inch was taken care of. And as you walk around certain parts of the mall here, you will see this spray painted BLM, which stands for Black Lives Matter. About an hour ago, we saw crews. They were right here sweeping away dust and debris and glass. They were taking care of all of that. And then as far as activity out here, we haven't seen a lot of activity besides us out here, but there have been officers who have been patrolling the parking lot here, driving around, security as well. They wanted us to identify ourselves to make sure we are who we say we are. That said, let's talk about the curfew. The curfew is expected to start at 8 o'clock tonight and run until 6 o'clock in the morning. Mayor Colvin believes that curfew will help keep things calm here in the community. He said there still could be some problems, but it will help the officers identify who is here to cause problems and who is not trying to cause any issue. So that is what we're seeing right now here at Cross Creek Mall. A very, very different scene here, Gerald, than what we saw yesterday. Very calm, beautiful day. And as of right now, we're the only ones out here.
Many people glad about that. Julian Grace live in Fayetteville. Thank you, Julian.
Staying in Fayetteville, volunteers have flooded downtown to put plywood over broken windows, and they didn't stop there. They turned the plywood into canvases, painting uplifting messages such as Fayetteville Strong and Spread Love. Artists took paintbrushes and decorated the boarded up businesses. Even stores that weren't damaged had plywood put up to join the community display of love and art.
Today's initiative is 100% volunteer driven. We boarded up 42 buildings downtown, which is really amazing. Fortunately, we didn't have that much damage. We have artists down here. We have churches down here. We have business owners down here, elected officials. It's a really great showing of the community at large. We have residents that have come down to help.
Looks beautiful. All along Hay Street, people walked the streets, dined at restaurants, and enjoyed a sunny afternoon in the heart of Fayetteville.
Back to the capital city, volunteers spent the day cleaning up downtown Raleigh following last night's protests and violence. WRL's Micaiah Thurman and photojournalist Luke Notstein show us how the community came together today.
Any weekend, downtown Raleigh normally bustling with music and visitors. Sunday, the tone much different, with the sounds of sweeping on every corner from dozens of hometown volunteers.
We're grateful to be alive and to be able to assist. And we're here to show solidarity and unity.
Church groups, families, and business owners came together to remove the debris of last night's destruction. What started as a peaceful protest devolved into chaos and rioting. Local businesses attacked for no reason.
We are all saddened and probably angry to some extent. However, this is not the way to correct a wrong.
We also need the injustice to be addressed.
Yes.
But we also need love to prevail, and so we stand for both of those.
Erin Banks attended the protest when it was peaceful. When she heard of the later rioting, she decided to step up.
I wanted to come back today to show that Raleigh is still beautiful, it's still peaceful, and that's what I've experienced here. There's lots of people helping out, lifting a hand, cleaning up.
As this community bands together, leaders remain hopeful that the city doesn't see another night of mayhem. Micaiah Thurmond, WRAL News.
A team of volunteers, young and old, down there to help clean things up. Now, the Downtown Raleigh Alliance says it no longer needs volunteers to show up if you thought about doing so. Due to hazardous conditions, they hope to clean up the damage with professional crews.
All right, we are going to send it now to WRAL's Amanda Lamb, who is live in downtown Raleigh with what's expected out there. I'm hearing a lot of honking of horns, Amanda.
That's right, Deborah. So as you can see, this large crowd, a couple hundred people, has gathered right here at the old Capitol. Very peaceful so far. People with signs, people chanting. There are cars going by, beeping, showing their signs of support. And initially, we were told this group was going to be marching and going to the Justice Center, which is about 2 blocks away. But so far, that hasn't happened. So we're just kind of monitoring what's going on here. Again, so far, it's been pretty peaceful. You can hear right now, they're saying George Floyd. And obviously, they have also talked about not being able to breathe, just different chants in support of this. Let's see if we can talk to some of the people who are out here today about why they came out. Hey, ladies, how are you guys? We're from WRAL. Could we talk to you for a second about why you came out?
I'm just out here trying to support people who are obviously oppressed all the time and who need a voice. So I don't know them.
And I came to pray. I came to pray because whatever is going on, unless the Lord get involved in it, it won't be solved. Human beings do not have the antidote for anybody. They don't have the formula for inoculation. So I'm a born-again Baptist believer. So I'm praying that Lord would have mercy on this nation, even though they don't want him in their business. For the ones who live here, who do want it, because statistics says 51% of this nation's population are Christians, and for our sakes, I'm saying, give us the antidote, let people have freedom to come out and work, and give people a sense to understand that he knows what they're going through, and the cops too, to have their mind to know that these are lives responsible, not just, serve them, we're supposed to protect them. So
well, thank you so much for your time, ladies. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And again, a lot of people very passionate right now. As you can see behind me, Lauren's going to show you, just peacefully protesting. And hopefully that will be what we see tonight. We will continue to follow this.
We certainly hope that it will stay peaceful tonight. Amanda Lamb live in downtown Raleigh. Thanks, Amanda.
And one thing very apparent in that shot was it is a very sunny day, a beautiful weather day here this Sunday, Zach. That humidity now is gone off for just a few days.
Yes, gone for a few days for the last day of May, the first day of June. Really, these are the next days that we will want to enjoy. We all know that June in North Carolina gets rather humid, and that's arriving midweek this week. Really only a few clouds over downtown Raleigh, and this evening, if you're heading out for a walk, mostly clear sky. Temperatures, though, are cooler this evening in the 60s, thanks to a light northeast wind. Sunset time for your evening walk at 8:26 p.m. So all in all, not too bad this evening. We had a cold front move through yesterday, and now it's well offshore of North Carolina, and that's why we are seeing a lower humidity today. Cooler temperatures and plenty of sunshine. Not really a cloud in the sky as far as the eye could see back to the Midwest. Also, reason why is high pressure. It'll slowly drift overhead tonight into tomorrow. So tomorrow also staying on the cooler side. But once that high pressure system moves offshore of North Carolina, we'll see a southwest wind, and that's going to cause temperatures to get warmer. The temperature trend from Wednesday to Thursday to Friday staying rather warm, all thanks to a southwest wind. Tomorrow, very pleasant, just like today. Afternoon high temperatures in the mid to upper 70s, 78 in Fayetteville, 76 in Raleigh. Heading into Tuesday, temperatures will warm just slightly. That's as that area of high pressure drifts just to our east. 85 in Raleigh, 85 in Fayetteville, 84 in South Hill. But then check this out. Wednesday, that's when the heat returns. That's when it's going to feel like June, and that's when it's going to feel like summertime. Afternoon high temperatures on Wednesday back at 91, 92 in Fayetteville. So tomorrow is June 1st, the official start of hurricane season. Right now, we're not watching anything in the central Atlantic, but there is one corridor of low pressure currently just over Guatemala that's slowly moving off towards the north and northwest. This was Amanda, a tropical storm in the eastern Pacific, and it can cross the Yucatan Peninsula and actually become a system that we're watching in the Atlantic as well as in the Gulf. That's very rare, but something we'll have to watch over the next few days. And we'll see that temperatures are on the climb again. Enjoy tomorrow, 91 Wednesday and Thursday.
We'll try and take advantage of it. Thank you very much, Zach.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're now going to go to Lester Holt on NBC Nightly News, but we will continue to bring you live pictures from protests across North Carolina.
Then we'll be back here live on WRL News at 7 o'clock, followed by our late evening newscast at 10 on Fox 50 and 11 here on WRAL. Have a good evening.